All right. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Drew Danger here back on the scene. We've got a special guest. We got some special people coming through in a very special stream today. Uh, and I did not turn on my headset because I'm an idiot. And I will do that here in a minute. And we're going to be doing a stream where we have a very special guest, Nerd Talk. You know him as that. Remington Nerd Talk, whichever name you know him. He's here today to kind of tell us the story about himself, about a new turn in his life, about a new direction, about new things, new ideas that are going on with him. And he really wants us to hear the change, the direction, the path that he's on. And he wants to talk and share it on the channel today. He talked to me about it, and I said, hey, absolutely. So we wanted to bring him in here and allow him to do that. And I just appreciate if everyone gives him that floor and that respect and allows him to do that. And I want to introduce, our team. We got Answer06 here. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Good evening, everyone.
Evening. Hope you're doing well. And we've got Juice Box Poppy. Everybody knows him, the Ranger Collector. Look at that setup back there. And I'm just some guy named Drew Danger hanging out and excited to do this episode of the show. And our guest is the one and only Nerd Talk, ready to tell us a story about his new journey and everything that's been going on with him. And he's got some things that he wants to get off his chest, and we're going to allow him to do that and speak that clear. And I'm going to turn on my set. I'm going to pass it over to him. So here's the thing, Nerd Talk. We want you to just share what you feel, how you feel, what you're comfortable sharing, where you want to start.
Where would you like me to start from? Like where the drama starts, or where we're moving forward from it?
Well, I really want to talk about what brought on this change. You were headed down one direction. Now you're in another direction.
I think it kind of started off with me working with Rican, and he was working on this comic book or movie, Rise of the Ninjetti, or there might be another name to it because I don't think he can use Ninjetti because it's a copyrighted term. I think that was just like the proof of concept name. But, after working on it for 6 months now, maybe 7 months, I think we've kind of hit a wall there, and it's been more focused on the drama surrounding it rather than the actual working on the actual project itself. Okay. And so I'm not really big into the whole drama thing. I've said that before. I don't like getting into these drama situations. I somehow always get into it, but I don't want to be anywhere near this surrounding drama. I've told people involved with it before I don't want anything to do with it. That's between you guys. I even told Rican himself, like, hey, like, we need to just focus on the project and instead of focusing on this drama stuff. So it's just I'm just so mentally exhausted from this stuff. I'm ready for like a new something new to move on to. I don't want to be involved with it. I don't want my name attached to it. It's gonna end up hurting my other projects. I got other projects that I'm working on.
So I do have a question for you, Remington. So, going with this from the beginning. So how did Rican meet you and Ian and that viewing globe guy?
Oh, I reached out to Rican after all the drama stuff in me and the Henry Cord and all that. And I wanted to see his project just get finished. That's kind of like, I didn't want to get involved with I'd come to him talking to him about the drama initially, and I have martial arts experience. I could provide, martial arts for him for the project and all that, and it just I think it kind of was a lot more than I thought I would have to put into it. I thought he was more focused on the project, to be honest. and
Okay.
I think it was a lot more than I could chew mentally, and you know,
Yeah, because I know you were the first one out of your group to join in. Do you know how everyone else came about then?
I think the manager was already a part of it before I was,
Okay.
but just like behind the scenes and not like really out there.
Okay.
I don't think it was until that video that Henry had put out with all four of us that it was really like public that this guy was working with Rican. And Ian was never involved with the Ninjetti part. He's only involved with the drama.
I get you. So, I mean, you're basically the brains of the operation. I can see it.
I wouldn't say that.
No,
I
no, no.
definitely,
I mean, in the terms of you're the more intellectual out of all of them. I have to say, Remington, I have to give you your flowers. You're very smart. You're a very smart individual. You know how to write. You know how to make a movie. You know what it involves in the script making process. So I'm just wondering what your role in the group was.
I I honestly think it was just to have somebody who was already part of the Henry uh, resilient community on the team, because anytime I feel like any suggestion that I made was just thrown out the window. If you ask me,
Okay.
um, and there wasn't a lot of they kept a lot of stuff secret from me because they didn't know where I was at. You know,
Okay. So because I mean, like I said, you are the main intellectual out of them. So you the one who made the group Discord then?
I had initially made the Discord, but it was to promote the project.
Got it. So that was
It
the
wasn't.
main group since expectation was. I mean, from what it sounds like to me, you just came in because you believed in Rican, you wanted to help him with this project, which is admirable because I believe all of us.
And I was kind of looking for a shoulder to cry on, to be honest. I was very
Okay.
hurt with what happened, and I just kind of, you know, was kind of willing to put my whole all there. You know, put all my eggs in one basket.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, all of us, I think, share that in that we saw his strive for the project. We saw that he was passionate, but maybe he wasn't um educated on how to make things go about. And so, as people, we do want to help each other move forward. And so I think we do empathize with you, Remington, because, we all share that in common.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I want to see the project done one day, but I will not be any part of the final project. You know, I just got to move away. It's just it's getting too much. You know, especially with all this drama and the stuff with Answer and the stuff with him going on Henry's, and there's like I feel like anytime I open my computer up, it's a new drama thing that I'm not involved with, and somehow my name gets attached to it every time because of who you're associated with. You know, guilty by association.
No, and if I could, I wanted to ask and kind of really get into what really drew you to Rican, you know? What,
I think it's because he's a dreamer and he can really, when he talks, he sells you on this project, but then you get deeper in and you realize there's nothing really there to grab hold on to, you know? If that
okay.
makes sense.
Right, because what had happened was um there was a dispute in the Discord
Right.
and you couldn't get a hold of me.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me if I'm wrong. And the time difference, it was way early where I was. So when I got with you, you had already, I think by that point you had already reached out to Rican to connect with him because you felt that there was some sort of kindred spirit or connection because you felt you were in a similar situation that he was in.
Right.
And that brought you to him. So once you started working with him, when did you first start understanding that this may be much more than what you thought it was, and it may be much more difficult than what you thought it was going to be?
I think it was after he had like started going on these streams, and like everybody was kind of telling him, hey, you know, this you need let's move away from this. We all want to move away from this. And he still kept going on. And I don't know, it's just I think a lot of people like you guys have been in this corner before and probably told them, hey, let's focus on the project, and just I feel like he's too clouded and focused on drama,
And I've got to ask, like, if you were to compare finishing or if he had an opportunity to do this Power Ranger project, whether if it's the comic book or the film, would he do that if he had a choice, or would he rather pursue Henry and the rest of the Discord and live in that as opposed to actually making this dream happen?
That's a good question. I'm not like entirely sure where his mindset is at that, because it feels like some days he's like, oh, I really want to finish this project, and then other days it's like, well, did you see what they said about me? It's like, no, I didn't watch that. I'm doing other stuff here,
No, absolutely. Answer, did you have anything you wanted to ask?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so like for me, I think all the drama that happened in the Discord that involved you, Remington, like I had said before, if you didn't disclose anything, I think you had been fine. It'd been smooth sailing for you to this day. And then everybody has their own personal beliefs or opinions, and they hold those dear. And then, unfortunately, when all that info came out, everybody was like just targeting you. And some of it may have been justified, some of it may not be justified. And then there was a lot of questions. And then when Henry had that stream where you came on, the way you presented the situation, at least for me, I could only speak for myself. So I'm like, yo, did he groom the person? I just posed a question. Was not calling you that, just posed a question. And then you answered the question. And then we had our private conversation. And then I told you, like, I don't know how to guide you, but, pray on it and talk to whoever your God is and seek guidance that way. But like for me, I had my own beliefs about the situation. But I'm like, hey, man, no malice. I heard your story out. I understand it a little bit better, and hey, good luck. And then I kind of left it alone. And then there was some things happening when you went to the other side and joined Rican's crew, where there was some things that happened, and then in retaliation, I pressed that button and sent some trigger words towards you, which for me it was wrong for doing it because it wasn't a way a martial artist or a man carries himself. But I was poking the bear back because there was shots thrown towards me. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna reverse it, throw it back. But now looking at the totality of everything, I'll admit I was wrong on that. So, but I do understand why you move your eggs from one basket to another basket to hopefully find acceptance. But unfortunately, as you probably know now, that particular group wasn't the ideal group for you to be associated with. Because
Right.
I think you was at a level right here and it brought you down like maybe 10 steps. And now that you may be saying later on in the stream that you're branching away, it may bring you up back those 10 steps. And then hopefully from there, you may go up another 10. So,
and
there's
I'll take responsibility too. It wasn't okay for me to go retaliate against you. You know, I think it was just I'm very sensitive to the whole groomer, the pedophile shit because I work with kids. It's my livelihood. You know what I mean? Those are like not easy allegations to just like ignore. You know,
Yeah.
especially when you work with kids. I got kids at my house all the time. You know, I'm watching my brother's kid all like full time while I also have my brother that I'm taking care of. So it's really hard when, you know, you got all that and this stuff had come out. I had already gone through this grieving process when I was going through this long like court case and stuff when it was like very fresh. So if it felt like I was just reliving this again,
Mm-hmm.
and I probably wouldn't have even said anything to anybody in the Discord, but I felt like I could trust some of these people with that kind of secret information that it wasn't just going to be publicly brought into the middle of the Discord, you know. And I only told a couple of people to explain myself on why I had a certain point of view. And I don't even remember what the thing I was arguing about, but it was just to kind of I was just over explaining myself, you know.
So
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Remington. Oh, go ahead, answer.
Which I think was also kind of at fault because I don't know if you noticed, but at one point prior to you joining the Henry Court, between 2015 and 2020, we was in the same network page for martial
Yeah.
artists,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
we've interacted on that page, and I never knew about your past. Never would thought to have looked you up on the internet or anything like that.
Mm,
But so if you had kept this smooth sailing, no one would have been the wise to your situation. Not that I'm saying to be deceitful and not tell people about your past, but it's for them to find out, not for you to divulge, if
right.
that makes sense.
No, it makes
And
sense, and that was my bad. But I just felt like, you know, sometimes you feel like people are closer than they actually are, and then
yeah,
I could say this information, you know, and it was probably wrong of me to do that, you know.
I mean, not necessarily wrong because you was trusting people, but I think you didn't have your shields up to be prepared for the tomato or egg that was going to be thrown at you
Right.
as far as people's own opinions and beliefs. Like for me, I'm a parent of a 17-year-old girl. So, I was already on guard for that situation.
No, and
And,
I get it. I got nieces who are 17. And I wouldn't want them dating
it,
older people, you know.
yeah, exactly. So as a dad, I was looking at it a certain way. And then from this perspective of my day job, I was looking at it a different way. That's why I posed the question, does the Romeo and Juliet laws apply? I didn't know. I didn't know what state you was in. I didn't know the geographical area of Boston or Mass to know exactly how that plays. So I just posed a question. And then the responses were like, bam, bam, bam. I'm like, whoa, hold up. I'm just asking questions. I'm not accusing, just trying to get the full story out. But it went bad. So, you went your way and then you went to a group
And
that
I just want to make this point too that I probably wouldn't have dated this girl had I not known her my whole life. It wasn't just like I'm attracted to these younger women. This is somebody again I trusted the wrong person.
So
You know?
let's start from the beginning, Remington, because there's like, not to be rude or anything, Remington, but there's like so many conflicting stories. I mean, there's one article that says one thing, there's another article that says another. I think a lot of people will just want an answer, and I think that this is a good way for you to finally set the record straight. This is a moment that people are going to listen to you, that I already know. I already feel like you are remorseful and you did learn your lesson, because I've done my research as well. And I mean, for everybody out there that's listening, about maybe 42% of people that go into this crime do recommit, and you have shown some great remorse. I hear it in your voice. Like, I know you have children living in your home.
Listen, I'm breaking down crying even just thinking about this
No,
thing. Like, it's
because
not even like something easy for me to talk about,
No, I get you, my man. But the thing is that I think it's important for you to set the record straight, because we believe you, Remington. Well,
Yeah.
that's what we want you to know, is that we are on your side. and that we promise you, like, no matter what happens, I can't. What Answer was saying is, we can't control what the world thinks of you, but
Mhm.
we can at least give you the tools to give your narrative out there, and say down the line someone does find out, like Judge Joe Brown told you. He was all like, look, man, it's probably not a smart idea, like Answer just said, to announce it to the world, but at
Mhm.
least you can point to maybe this video and be like, hey, here's the situation, here's my statement, this is what happened, and then you can move on, and that's it. And like I said, even my statement is valid. 42% do recommit within the first 10 years.
Right.
You're past that, and
Right.
you do sound remorseful. So that's what I wanted to say. Is I just want to give you the floor. Like, let's explain what happened once and for all, and let you speak.
Well, this is somebody I've known my whole life. I'm from a small town. Pelham is so small it doesn't even have its own zip code. We share it with like 5 different towns in the area. It's like one of those like schools. Like 5 different towns go to the same school. It's not that big of an area. And this is somebody I thought I trusted my whole life. I didn't just like rush into a relationship. This was a friendship first. This is somebody we used to go swimming with. We'd go to the mall, hang out. This wasn't some kind of, oh, I'm secretly plotting. We were kids together. So this is somebody I thought I could trust. And it wouldn't have happened if it would at any other time. You know, it's I trusted this person. When you trust somebody, you give them a little bit more leeway with things than you would just some random stranger you just met.
Absolutely.
Um, so we had gone on this date, and it was my birthday was coming up. This was supposed to be like our time together, and you know, one thing led to another, and stuff happened. I mean, I don't know how else to explain that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
So, I mean, I guess what a lot of people are asking, because there's a lot of conflicting stories. So, like, you knew her for a long time, and you said that the parents weren't okay with you, so that's why they turned you in. But, like, there's also another story out there that says, hey, they were Facebook friends and he had a different name. Do you have any comment on that?
so I don't know if anybody knows a lot about my Facebook, but I have my main Facebook for my friends,
Okay.
which is I go under a different name because I don't want people connecting my acting stuff, my book stuff with my public profile. And then
Gotcha.
I got the Remington Kai stuff for the promotion of the books and all that. So my middle name's Robert. So sometimes I'll have the Robert page, you know what I mean? Or
Okay.
I'll have a third page if I'm gonna post shit posts, you know what I mean? So because you can get fired off jobs if you're posting crazy stuff and all that. And sometimes you need a vent. Some people write blogs. I do it off Facebook. And so she was just happened to be on the one that wasn't connected to my like what do you call it, the YouTube and all that. You know what I mean? But we had known each other, for forever. She knew my real name. She knew what was going on.
It sounds like a small town kind of love. Like, this is
Yeah.
like, I'm from LA, but I've grown up in, like, small town Central America, so I have the luxury versus other people that I know what you're talking about, like
Hmm.
literally farm town type of stuff. So
Right.
I get what
Exactly.
you're saying. So that's why I have sympathy for you, and that's why I know your story. It's one amongst a million. Go ahead, Answer. Yeah.
Just so I could visualize it a little bit better, would you describe your small town like the episode of The Simpsons? How they're in a small town like that?
I would think it's even smaller than that because I'll tell you, I walk down the street and it's another city. It's already going into Amherst.
Oh, okay.
You know
Okay.
what I mean? So like literally the line, because they won't deliver pizzas to where my house was because it's like a street away from the other town. Like it's literally that small. When you go to the end of the street It's Belchertown, Amherst, and then Pelham. Like it's literally like it's very small. The school and the library and the police station and the fire station are all one building.
Okay.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's literally really tiny. You can literally walk around it in like an hour. You know, it's not that big.
I gotcha. Okay, so that makes more sense. That really does make more sense that you would know this person. And it sounds like to me, because you do have multiple profiles, and that's what a lot of people were concerned about, to be quite honest. But the thing is that it's, I do get it now that it's multiple personas because you don't want to mix the Remington, normal Remington, with your professional profile, with maybe the secretive one of who you might really be, but you don't want the small town to know.
Listen, you can see some of the posts that are on different ones. I'll have ones that are more professional posts, and then ones that go buck wild crazy, say the craziest stuff you ever heard. But it's not stuff that I mean. I'm just making jokes, you know, making, you know, little memes and stuff. Like it's just, you know.
For example, the one that you did about the Cybertruck and the Ford F-150. That would be like a good example, right?
Yeah. The other thing I'll say about this town, and I don't even remember what I was going to say. It's just a very small area. You know?
Okay. Mm-hmm. No, I mean,
I get the ADHD thing. I get distracted easy, and
no problem. I think what a lot of people want to know too is this. You have zero attraction to underage girls.
Absolutely zero attraction.
Okay.
Like I have a girlfriend right now, 28. My last girlfriend was like 46. You know, it's no attraction at all.
And how old are you now?
I'm 29.
29. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you were 21 when this happened?
Yeah, I was 21, and I had spent my birthday in jail while this was going on. So we were going to be celebrating my birthday early, is what was going on.
Okay. So technically, you were kind of 20, and you weren't, and then you were becoming.
No, I was 20. I was 21, turning 22.
Okay.
But she was turning 18 like 2 weeks later, anyways.
Okay, you know? So 2 weeks she was going to be 18. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, that's why I did the math in my head, and it's nearly been 10 years. And statistically speaking, like I said, 42% of like, you know, bad cases do recommit within the first 10 years. And you sound remorseful. You sound like, hey, I'm sorry. You know, I did what I did. This was the circumstances, and this was going on. I just wish that, you know, things didn't go down the way that they did, and we could have had a conversation like this beforehand, and you would have been given a chance, you know?
Absolutely, 100%. If I look back at it now, I wouldn't have dated her. It wouldn't have even been a thing. You know, we would just stayed friends.
If I could jump in real quick, without mentioning that person's name, have you made amends with them about the situation?
She tried to apologize over Facebook. I blocked her because I said I don't want any contact with this person after this, just in case there's oh well, look, see, he's trying to reach out to me or something. You know, I really wanted to distance myself from this situation. This is not
okay.
This was not.
So, if you had the opportunity right now to make amends with her using this video, in the event that she sees it on her own accord, would you have anything you want to say to her right now?
Listen, I'm sorry that I even put you through this with the parents. You never want to be in a bad situation with your own parents. So I'm sorry that you went through this. I'm sorry that this even happened. You know, that should have been my job as the adult to go, hey, no, I'll wait. And, you know, it's just a bad situation altogether. And you know, being a Christian, I forgive her, you know, for whatever I went through. You know, it was a very much a learning lesson. Uh, and so, you know, as a Christian, you're taught to forgive, and I forgive for whatever happened, and I hope she forgives for whatever I put her through, whether it was whether it was something mental going on or just even with her parents. You know.
And since you brought up religion, did you forgive yourself? And
Yeah,
did you ask whoever your belief system is for forgiveness as well?
yeah. I've asked for forgiveness. I, you know, I go to church every Sunday. It's you know, I'm always asked for anything bad I do. I ask for forgiveness. So it's just
And you
yeah,
forgive yourself, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I do have one thing, Remington, just because I don't want this fallback to reach out to you. So there were some allegations that Alex did say about you that the girl had gone trans. Do you have anything to say about that? Is that a lie? Is what
I
happened?
mean, not to speak too much on her situation,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, a couple years down the line, she had. I don't know if she like completely transitioned or what, but you know, I don't really keep in contact with this person, but uh, yeah,
From
she's
your point of view, it looks like it, but you don't want to comment, correct?
right. Yeah, I don't want to put the person's business out there, but yeah,
I just wanted
the
to bring
town's
it up.
small enough. I know kind of people who still
I
know
got you.
her, and
That's why
yeah,
I wanted to have your back right now because I know that I wanted to cover you just in case Alex does try to do something against you. Like you can point to the world and say, "Hey, no, this is my statement. This is what's going on." You know.
yeah,
That's why I mentioned.
and no hate for people who are transitioning and going through whatever they got to do. You know, that's their business. I'm not going to hate them for what they go through, and maybe that was probably the problem with the relationship is that she
Mhm.
probably was trying to find herself. You know, and it just wasn't it. I don't know. I can't speak on it for other people. You know.
Okay.
You just being respectful of the situation, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's why I didn't publicly put her business out there like that. I wasn't trying to just, oh, you see what's going on with this person. Look, you know, not pointing fingers. You know,
No,
Since
absolutely.
I'm sorry, Angel,
No,
since
go
you
ahead,
brought
answer.
this up, uh, are you prepared in case Rican, Rican or Alex decides to retaliate and put any out private stuff that you guys discuss out there? Or is there hopefully nothing that you disclose too much to him that he would try to use against you?
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you.
The only thing he really has against me and is not really much, but that okay. At one time when he was doing a meeting with me, that I was just leaving a hooker's house, which I've told Drew that, you know, so it's not really like
Yeah, I mean that's not a big deal, you know. I
yeah,
mean, is it morally right? I mean, that's for the eye of the beholder, but at least you're coming clean, and that's what I think is the most important thing is that if you're going to be truthful and honest and gain people's respect, is just hey, just tell the truth, just let us know, just like right now, just let us
right,
know what happened. The truth shall set you free, you know, and no one can ever tell you anything otherwise because it's kind of like, well, I laid everything out on the table. What more can I do at this point? You know?
right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. And I've tried to move it on from this situation. I'm really like I'm not the nobody here is the same person they were 10 years ago. You know,
Absolutely.
I've tried to evolve from this. I got my books out. I've worked on television pilots. Like I'm a whole different person than I was when I was 21. You know, so
So
I just hope
that's a good segue because I mean when 10 years ago I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was ready to be single and to live in another country, and now look at me. I'm married and I'm happily, you know, living my life trying to figure out still trying to figure out what I'm 100% doing and you know trying to find the passion with what I'm doing, you know. So
right.
no one's the exact same, and I mean that's a good segue into my next question, which is I'm glad you brought that up because do you think that Alex is stuck or do you think that that he's evolved from where he was?
I think he wants to do better, but doesn't really have. It's not motivation is not the right word. I don't think he's got. I don't even know how to say this right. But
Just whatever
there's a roadblock there that's keeping him from moving forward. And I feel like anytime he tries to move forward, he doesn't know. I don't know if it's a confidence issue or I don't know, a mental block or something. Because he gets the new apartment, great, but then he wants to go 10 steps back doing with the drama instead of going, oh, let's go get this project done, And there's only so much you can do to help before you gotta like call it quits.
Because from my understanding, you tried to help him out a lot. Like you in private told me and Drew like the stuff you've done. Like, can you share like the kind of stuff you've done for him and how
Without
like, you
mentioning
blocked him up? Yeah, yeah.
people's names, I've hooked them up with some people who were like big into the AI stuff, and um, I tried to get them on some panels that I was doing for conventions and stuff. But I'm afraid to introduce him to too many people because he's still into the drama stuff. If you completely said, well, not now, but like beforehand, and said, "Hey, let's stop with the drama. I'm really focused on this project." I think we could have had something because the people I know probably could have made it happen for him for less than he's asking in his spot fund, and I think they would have done it as a favor from me. I had people who worked for Marvel, like movies like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies and the Avengers movies and stuff, ready to work on this project. And all I ask him is give me, an outline. You don't even have to give me like a series Bible. I can make a series Bible. I can make a pitch Bible like this overnight. Maybe not overnight, but it wouldn't take me long to work one out. And I think he was so untrusting of me with this drama stuff that he wasn't willing to move forward. And from what I hear, it was just all speculation on what the story was, anyways. So there was nothing on paper.
Okay, that's interesting because he always talks about that the stories, you know, being worked on, the stories done. So to your knowledge, there's nothing on paper. It's just
Whatever
ideas, right?
was being worked on was between him and his manager, and it was just over calls like we're doing right now. Like if I told Drew, "Hey, I'm working on Green with Evil," but my version. I mean, that's about as much as his project is right now. And then a couple AR art.
So you're saying like a book like this was just empty?
Right.
Okay. So let me see if I'm understanding this right, Remington. He has been what we thought, which was he's been bringing out these stacks of folders. He has not been writing these ideas down, and he's just been talking over the phone random ideas that he has not put into a script, an outline, or anything like that. Is that about right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, correct. Yeah. And, it took me, 6 months to bang my book out. And it went through 20 different people who looked it over, made corrections, gave me all that stuff. And, I got mine out. Whatever you want to say about it, it's out,
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I mean, if you think about it, Legend of the White Dragon, as drama filled as it is, I mean, when we talked to Aaron, literally JDF and him were working on it for a decade.
Right.
So, I mean, it has to go through drafts. It has to go through people reading it and seeing it. And I mean, it all starts with putting a pen to paper.
Right.
And
like I told him, I said I would bang the project out in like a couple months. I said I told him, I said if he had given me the outline by June, I would have had issue 1 out in 2 weeks, and I would have paid for it myself out of pocket and had made sure everybody in the Discord of Henry's Discord would have had a copy in 2 weeks. And it is now June 25th, and I haven't received anything. So
is it fair to say that you were the number one person pushing for it, and you were probably the one willing to bankroll it at that point?
I think everybody that was a part of it, minus Ian, because he was just for the drama, was willing to push for it. You know, I think a lot of us are frustrated that he hasn't moved forward with it, because I think at least with me and the manager, we thought our careers are on the line here, and us going towards the drama more is just bringing us farther and farther away from the end goal.
If I could ask, was there like some sort of dispute about the direction that Rican was going with the group of you guys? That the direction it was going, did you guys like it? You didn't like it?
Not in front of Rican, there wasn't. It was more behind the scenes.
Okay.
So I know there was like a meeting between all the people who were involved about getting frustrated with the drama stuff. But I don't know. I think a lot of us were frustrated and wanted to move away from this. I know Ian wants to work on his music. He wants to work on his music. And it's just, this kept bringing us back into the whatever was going on.
No, I get it. I mean, you guys wanted to work on the script, it sounds like, and actually have your names out there and show a proof of concept, versus Rican that just wanted to cause harm to Henry, basically.
He doesn't realize how far I could have brought him, because a lot of people know these managers at conventions, but I know the owners. These people would do favors for me to go get me in there, and it's really hard to have somebody that to open a tunnel for somebody and they don't want to see the light, and
I get you.
I want to introduce him to all these people, but it's really difficult. It's like walking on eggshells who you want to introduce your contacts to,
Go ahead.
One thing I wanted to ask, do you know what happened to Brent, the guy that had the juice bar show?
No idea.
What was your contact with him? Because he was around when you came in to work with Rican.
He told Rican not to trust me, but then ends up releasing the video to Henry. So.
And then he was gone?
Yeah, then he was gone.
Okay.
So I never directly talked to him. That was him and Rican and all that. The only person I had direct contact with was the people you saw on the podcast, Ian and E and Cameron. And
what was your relationship like with all those guys?
I was really close with E and Ian, and whatever you guys got with Ian, I think he's a real good guy deep down that's dragged into this stuff,
No, yeah.
And E is cool too, but I think they're just on the wrong end of the drama,
Because I remember talking to Ian, and I'll have to admit, when I first talked to Ian, I was cool with Ian. I mean, I talked to him with Degenerate, and I thought that we had an understanding on, where we stood. I thought that he was a pretty cool guy when I first talked to him. I mean, yeah, he had his out there ideas and things like that. But I mean, I remember specifically being like, hey, man, you can have your own opinions on things. You can, think the way that you do. Nobody here is really trying to indoctrinate you. He keeps saying that we're a cult and this and that. But I mean, I never told him you have to think like we do. I told him just be respectful of everybody's ideas, be respectful of everyone's thoughts, and I mean, everybody will be cool.
I think he was most upset with how my situation had played out.
Okay.
When we talked behind the scenes, his whole thing of going after Henry was even making the video about my stuff and everybody dragging me for it, which You know,
I get it. Okay.
I think that kind of blew up bigger than
So, do you
it
think
should
that
have been.
maybe he's more on your side, like he's just protecting you versus actually working on Rican's projects then?
He's not part of Rican's project.
Okay.
He was just part of KOD.
Okay.
So
And-
I got a question. So visualizing the comic book, would you say that on the cover it will be whatever the title was, whatever the AI art or comic book art was, and then it would be when you flip the page to the next page or to the back page, with whichever way it's presented, written by Alex or Rican or Trey King, uh, produced by Nerd Talk or Rebington. If you scan a QR code, you can hear the tracks by Ion and Trey King on there, something like that type of concept. That could have potentially been what it was been if you were still involved with the project.
I think if he had trusted me more with this stuff, we could have had it out already, and we could have had it out for Free Comic Book Day, which was another suggestion I had. Why didn't we have it out ready for Free Comic Book Day? You know, he knows all these comic book stores. That would have been a perfect way to get it out to more people. And I told them, I said, you don't need the Power Ranger community to promote this. You need the superhero community. You need these Comic Cons. You need these superhero fans. You could do something very Power Ranger style and not have the Power Ranger audience. You could go after the Marvel people, almost like Radiant Black is doing right now. You could go after these other sections that don't want you. You know, there's millions of people who are out there buying comics and stuff. It's not just the Power Ranger fans, you know. And if you market it the right way, you could target those other demographics. You know.
Okay. So I have a question. What do you think was Rican's downfall? What do you think he was doing that caused the contributing factors that caused his downfall? Not to do these things, not to be focused, not to stay honest and truthful and live up to the promises or ideas that he was trying to do or make.
I think he was focusing too much on what Henry and Ray were doing, or even Renee was the other girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he was just focusing on too much of what they were streaming, and it's okay to listen, keep your ear out, but you don't need to make that your main focus. Go write a script while you're listening. Go meet these other people. Go get these other people on your podcast who might be potential factors to helping you. I get people on my podcast every day or every week that are in the industry that are working hard to, like, I had that guy that was a producer on Real TV. I got another person that I got planning coming on in the next couple of weeks that's a 6-time Emmy producer that's working on AI films right now as we speak. These are the kind of people he should be having on his show.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
definitely. I mean, because the thing is that yeah, they might be, nobody's down. We're not as big now, but you never know within 6 months who's going to be somebody or who can help you. So it is true, very true what you're saying.
Right.
No, absolutely.
So I do have. Oh, go ahead, Drew. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Angel.
So I was gonna say. So, like I said, Remington, you are probably, I would say, the brains of everything. You are the intellectual. You are the person that brought the Discord together. You're the person that that quite frankly, if I was Alex, I would be the most trusting of you because you're the one who's actually going to bring my project to light. So I do have a question. I mean, do you have any knowledge on like how Rican knows what's going on in Henry's? Because both of you keep saying, hey, I want out of the drama. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. But yet you guys know exactly what's going on in the Discord,
I don't know who he's got in there, but there's somebody in there in his ear because somebody was accusing me of calling DCF on him. And I was like, I'm not involved with that. I don't know who called DCF on him, and he wants to point the fingers towards me. It's not me. Alex, I know you're watching. It's not me who called DCF on you. So
like the crazy part is, like, he thought it was me. It wasn't me. He thought that I would swat him. Nope. There was 3 different opportunities that I could have. Wasn't
Because the
worth my
thing
time.
is that he doesn't get that it was a life. And I think you understand, Nerd Talk. I mean, sorry, Remington, that literally anybody can watch a live.
right.
You know, anybody can see it. And the thing is that, you know, even you told Henry, you know, that you believe that whatever was in that pink pipe wasn't cannabis. Anybody watching could have called Department of Child Services. They could have done, anybody in the world could have done it, and they would have been in their right, you know, in their rights to do so, because hey, I've got a little brother. We're 14 years apart. I'm just like you, dude. I've got a little brother that's 14 years my younger. Drew's got a child. Answer has children. Henry's got children. If somebody out there was like, "Oh hell no, I'm not about to let Alex harm a child because he was smoking out of that," and you know, they could be like, I think that's unsafe, you know, because there was, from what it appeared, a white powdery substance on his nose, you know, so we definitely want.
Well, here's what I'll give Rican really credit. I think he really loves his children.
No,
I really deep down believe he really really is, you know, good when he's there, or when the kids are there. I'm not gonna. I would never call CPS on him because we had our private chats. I would see him interact with his kids. You know, it's, you know, that sort of thing. I will give him credit for. That's all I had to go say.
No, for sure. And I mean, do you have any comment on that? Like, how did you know that it wasn't cannabis that you told Henry?
I don't want to get into that right now. I don't want to talk about.
But it wasn't. But you do stand by what you said, that it wasn't cannabis, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, absolutely. I wanted to ask you, Remington, were you like around any Power Ranger actors and different people, and did they speak to you about Rican or about your project or things like that? Did they ever?
Yeah, I was just recently at a convention with Johnny Young Bosch there, and you know, he was just saying that he didn't want to be known as a co-signing on my project like other people in the community. I'm sure he was referring to Rican Ranger there, you know. But I ended up getting a picture with he looking at my book and stuff, and I ended up getting a picture of him with my book and all that, which I didn't publicly release because I didn't want people sending the Henry video to him. You know what I mean? I didn't want to start this business if it ends up being a good relationship to have it go downhill because of this, you know. And I had asked him. I said he was charging $20 for a video clip, and I had asked Rican. I said, hey, you know, you got anything we could you want him to say about your project? Like, we could use this for promotion later on. And the thing he replied with was, ask him if he knows who Rican Ranger is. Now, any of you guys have all been to conventions before, right?
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah.
How quick would I have gotten thrown out if I had asked him that?
Oh, within a second.
Right.
Within a second.
So that I was like, that's not really something you should be asking, especially when we want to promote this project, you know.
No,
so
absolutely.
My friends within the industry have told me that, you know, unfortunately, due to the drama and everything, that they are aware of who Rican Ranger is. Do you have any comments on that?
I'm 100% certain they're aware of who he is.
Yeah,
I'm
like
100%
it's
certain.
nothing good. You know?
So, I mean, that's probably why he got banned from Ranger Stop, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. You know, so you've heard things, and I've also heard, you know, that there is, you know, a story out there with Johnny Young Bosch that he is aware of Rican, correct?
Yes.
Do you have any comment on that? Like, do you have any quotes? Because I know definitely what they're saying.
Just that like he didn't want to be known as co-signing like he did with Rican. That's just kind of
Disheartening.
yeah.
So are
So
you saying that he's not co-signing Rican's project?
Yeah, I don't think so. But I think it very much could have went like that, But it's this drama. Nobody wants to be associated with the drama here, and I don't think he doesn't understand that.
and this is Johnny Young Bosch that we're talking about, correct? Like you
Yeah,
went up to Johnny and you told him,
yeah.
"Hey,
I got the picture.
okay, go ahead, Drew."
Yeah, I wanted to add to that. So could this be because of Rican's behavior that Johnny does not want to co-sign on a lot of people's projects or promote their projects in some way because of the explosion of what has happened with this?
Yeah, I think the Henry Resilient Channel has brought a lot of drama or just brought to light a lot of drama in the Ranger community that was kind of hidden because not a lot of people were talking about it like that. And so with drama comes people not wanting to do certain things and not being associated with it. And I think it's that, Rican said some crazy stuff. Not that I think he would actually do any of it, but just the saying of it is going to make people not want to work with him.
Right.
Like, so if I could clarify a little bit further, so maybe the Henry's coverage of people saying, "Oh, okay, because I got this signature, I'm co-signed." Do you think the Ranger actors are being more cautious on how they interact with fans and
I think
supporting their potential projects with the whole idea of this whole co-sign situation?
I think certain ones are. I definitely think, but with that being said, I definitely think I could go up to Austin St. John and have him co-sign something because he's kind of in a bind for money now. But I think the ones that are actually want a career and all that, I think they're going to be harder to get something from. And
I mean, 100%. I mean, the whole. I mean, I've seen the change ever since Henry's come on the scene. I'm sure you have as well, going to cons. I mean, the Rangers are more on defense now and really watching what they're saying and minding their P's and Q's because I know for a fact, I've been going to conventions since the 90s and I've seen Christopher Cayman Lee literally from right after high school to today. And I remember how reckless he used to be telling stories about how much he hates Saban. To now, I asked him the same questions at Power Morphicon, and it was like he's seeing a ghost, like he's thinking Henry's behind me that somebody's gonna tell him.
Well, like with I've been to Kineticon almost every year for the last 10 years, and Austin St. John's been there before, and he's at the after parties and stuff. I'm sure like you could get him to say something after a couple drinks or something. But I think the ones that don't want to be wrapped up in the drama are definitely going to be on their toes. The ones that want to focus, stay away from that stuff. I mean, I don't think a lot of them are very happy about being Power Rangers. If you ask me, I think they use it to make money. It's their job, but they wanted a bigger career from that, and so I definitely think they're gonna stay away from talking about any drama or anybody associated with drama. You go up to them and be like, "Hey, I'm a fan of Henry Zing." You might get kicked out. You might get banned from the convention. That's just the day we're at.
Go ahead, Drew.
I was just going to ask, did Rican ever talk about the cosign or the connection with that cosign with Amy Jo Johnson or anything like that?
No, we never got to talk about it. We're more talking about the people he was trying to recruit. That he'd gotten I wouldn't call them replies, but they hearted a comment or something, and it's a start, but it wasn't like anything big. Like I'm sure you guys saw Ray's stream today, with the
Nakia
Charlie
thing?
Kirsch and Nakia and Steve Cardenas, but no, I don't think a lot of people have replied about being on the project.
No, I know. I mean, a lot of those ranger actors, I believe the women do have assistants that that answer their Instagrams and things like that. I think Steve does his own, because I know I've spoken to Steve one on one before, and I don't have to go through his buffer period to get a response from Steve Cardenas. So
Steve
it all
Cardenas won't
depends.
work with Rican as long as I was a part of the project. I already know that for a fact. He doesn't like me.
Oh, got it.
I had interviewed him when I had my radio show when I was 15, and he called up drunk live on air and made a fool of himself. I wish I had that recording, uh, but I wasn't recording my radio show back in the day. But that that was
No, but
long.
what I was getting at is, Rican thinks he has all these cosigns just because Ranger actors like his stuff and like might respond to him. But like you and I both know, I mean, I was a personal assistant to a celebrity. I literally was the celebrity Instagram. So if you were talking to the celebrity, you were talking to me. I
Right.
was the one replying on their behalf. So more than likely, I hate to put the to burst the bubble, but he's probably talking to an assistant, especially for the women.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if that's if he even gets a reply, because
Yeah.
all I've seen is people hearting his stuff.
So, like, let's use Jason David Frank for example. If he was still here, it would probably be Francis or Nicole that was replying back to any of the comments or direct messages and whatnot. It wouldn't be Jason directly because he's obviously managing the karate schools, traveling, family time, and all that other good stuff. Uh, I know he would do the cameos, but he wouldn't be doing the Instagram or Facebook all the time. He would have other people helping him because obviously it's a 24/7 job because you have people overseas that are messaging and commenting, and you have people stateside, different time zones. So it's a lot for one person to sit there and do.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that is very true. I'm gonna just ask one more thing. I mean, like I said, you're clearly the creative. I've seen Rican's memes, and quite frankly, they're trash. And I've seen what the others can do. So, who was the one that made Diddles?
I think that was a combination of everybody. I think everybody kind of contributed it. The manager's the one that kind of animated it and stuff. Uh, I think it was. I think everybody kind of had a part in putting it together.
No, the reason I ask is because whoever did Diddles, I mean, clearly has talent.
Mhm.
There's no denying that they have talent. So I do question, is the person who made the Diddles one also the one who made the one with the baby,
The baby.
Cayenne's baby, that
Cayenne's
he
baby.
loved so much?
I don't think I'm familiar with the Cayenne baby meme.
So like it's the one um where I believe Henry's face is on Cayenne's baby's face. Like he took that from her profile.
I don't know. I know where he got the picture from. I don't know where the meme, which one of the people did the memes.
Okay. So you don't know so you would say it was a combination of everyone that
I
made
would
the
say it was a combination for everybody for the diddles. I don't know anything about the Cayenne baby. I know where he got the picture from,
Okay.
but
Okay. And how did you feel about, since you know about the Cayenne's picture, how did you feel about that? What were your thoughts on that?
well, I have mixed thoughts about Cayenne in the first place. But um, any photo that I had received of her, I didn't have any baby in the photo. I know the photo came from LinkedIn, but
Hmm. I
No,
guess
I
what I'm
know.
asking. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Angel.
Oh, well, I wanted to elaborate on that is just that, you know, I get the hate because originally I did have a big disdain for you, but
yeah,
now that's past. I want to say it's past having talked to you. So, when I say I'm sorry, I wish we had talked a little bit more before the fallout, because I think we would have gotten along great.
Absolutely. I think we would have gotten along just like me and Drew were kind of close before the fallout too, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is that you can tell by how I'm speaking to you that, I am generally sorry,
Yeah.
especially that all of this happened. I want to help you. So that's why I asked about, about why we're asking about the baby situation. Like, if
I
you,
wish I had more information on it to give you. I really have no idea, you know.
yeah,
Okay.
go ahead, Drew.
And so since this whole thing, like
Mhm.
Rican has taken the gloves off, Ion, all these people, um, because like me, I don't go after people's kids. I don't go
Right.
after people's families. If there's a problem with me and somebody, I take it to them and deal with it accordingly.
Mhm.
Now, Rican has taken it to people's families and kids, and even people that didn't do A, B, and C to him. He's
Right.
just gone. That's like kind of become his method, is to attack their family members. How do you feel about that?
I think he should have just kept the fight to the people directly, you know. I think he gets too defensive and starts going off on these tangents, and maybe he's black. I don't know if he blacks out. I don't know if he doesn't realize what he's saying in the time, but he says too much. He goes way too far, and that's a detriment to him, and he needs to figure out how to handle stuff professionally and not bring extra people who aren't involved into it into the fight.
No, I agree.
But I don't agree with it.
Okay.
I mean, I guess that's. I mean, do you guys have any other follow-up questions?
Yeah, I think answer. Did you want to do some martial art? We had some martial art questions to ask.
Sure. So prior to you making your Instagram page private, you
Mm-hmm.
had three different rankings on there.
Yep.
I understand you have a black belt in, well, black sash in kung fu, three
Yep.
stripes, so it would be a third degree,
Yeah, I'm a third degree black in kung fu, and
third
then
degree black
I'm a white belt in kenpo karate. So
kempo
I,
karate.
I, I just started Kempo karate in January because I have the heart failure. I wanted to get back into the martial arts, but I also have the heart failure, so I need to, go slow with it, and so I couldn't go right back into kung fu because I had a falling out with my head instructor. When I went to go open up my own school, he thought of me as competition instead of going, "Hey, why don't we work together and make a chain school?" Which
which
you would
is
think,
which is common in the martial arts.
right? And instead of doing that, he was like, "Oh no, you're competition," and wholeheartedly, I did not want to be competition. I wanted to teach younger sashes and him do the black belts. I give the new kids, and you can get as they move up, or the advanced kids, and then keep your younger kids. So I wasn't taking his young set. He can still keep them, but I wanted my own, stuff. And he said, "No, your competition." He tried to threaten me with lawyers, everything to kind of bring me down. I did that for 5 years, and then COVID hit me, and I had to shut down because of COVID. Um, so
So
now,
just for clarification, so your school shut down for COVID, not for the legal issue.
right, yeah, for the COVID,
Okay.
because it was just hard to keep up with all the restrictions and stuff, and make sure everything was safe. And a lot of business shut down because of COVID. I wasn't the only one. It was fairly common, but I also didn't go get a PPP loan, so I might have missed out on that.
Good thing you did. Good thing you did, because you may be in a Geiger situation.
Right.
Uh, the other one that was concerning, and Drew and I talked about it, or confusing, not concerning. First, a black belt in MMA. Uh, I did
So
some research on it, and MMA doesn't give out belts, so I was kind of confused.
certain schools give out belts to show your ranking. So I was teaching for tap out. And tap out, what they did was they weren't like karate belts, but you got like a little like square thing that was like Velcro that went on your MMA shorts.
Okay.
And so when I taught MMA, I told them, I said, hey, I only know Kung Fu. I don't know karate. I don't know Taekwondo. I don't know boxing. They said, nobody's going to know the difference when you're in there. Just call it MMA. And so that's what I was teaching. I was teaching MMA for tap out. So that's all that was. So we had belts, but they were more like a Velcro little thing.
Like a marker. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so when I became an instructor, they gave me an honorary black belt from whoever runs the thing, the something Jackson or whatever, whoever owns Tap Out, and they just got bought out by UFC. I taught that for a year, and that's where the black belt comes from, the black belt MA for. So they just to kind of show where the rankings go.
Gotcha. So to show your position and the skill set that you have towards training at that gym. So they probably have like that square thing to show the ranking or knowledge, and whatnot.
Right.
And I also have an honorary black belt in Taekwondo, but I've never done Taekwondo. It's just when I went to the gym, they said, "Oh, well, you're already a black belt in Kung Fu. It's a lot of the same stuff. It's just different katas, but you know enough where we'll give you an honorary black belt." It's just it's one of those courtesy things.
Gotcha. So like for me, me personally, someone that's been doing it for 30 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
For that 3rd-degree black belt in Taekwondo, maybe I would have put honorary 3rd-degree black belt in Taekwondo versus saying outright 3rd-degree black belt in Taekwondo. Because then if I asked you, can you perform Keryo Punse, you'd be like, huh, what? Yeah. Or if I ask you how to do Taget Iljan, you'd be like, huh, what? And then, people would question the same way that I question Geiger on his pro fight circuit or any of the stuff that he claims.
Right.
You got to try to walk a certain way and try to protect yourself a certain way.
So I don't know how certain he is about those pro fight circuits. I used to work for the boxing commission in Massachusetts. I think I would have heard of something, one of his fights or something. We used to do
anybody would have heard of a lot of his fights. I mean, the original Red Ranger would have been a big headline fight,
right?
Yeah,
even in a small circuit, it would have been a significant fight. I mean, to be quite honest, that's why a lot of people got on him. I mean, I'm glad Answer brought that up because that's why a lot of the stuntmen, and that's why JDF looked at him weird. And I'm sure they probably were like, oh, like you're a black belt? Cool. How do you do this? How do you do that? And then when he looked at them weird, then they were just like, okay, he's not a real black belt.
Like prime example, I would say like Jason's sport karate record is still out there. You can see how many wins he has in sparring, how many wins he had for the katas, and then how many for weapons and how many for breaking underneath NASCA, Crane, and there's another circuit. But there was 3 of them back in the 90s where you could see his record, even in the late 80s. But you really can't see nothing on Geiger. Like, for instance, back here, all my certificates are right there. So, like, everything is right there. But there's no way to prove for everyone else. So it's like, it's not making sense.
Right.
And what I didn't want for you was, because I called you out on it, let's be honest. I put it out there, but I'm like, bro, it's not adding up. But now that you explain it, I think if you did those corrections, because if you came across another martial artist, they'd be like, all right, this guy's legit and honest about his accolades. Like, for instance, myself, I was inducted in the Hall of Fame, the same as Jason's Hall of Fame. Jason also was inducted in the Black Belt Magazine Hall of Fame. So it's like, this guy accomplished a lot. And then you got someone else that's claiming all this stuff. And then there's no evidence of the fact, which is sad.
No, I agree. I definitely think there's like some kind of jealousy with Austin and JDF because, JDF was as legit as possibly. I mean, you meet him once and he's legit. He's not afraid to go show you his knowledge. Where I bet if you go up to Austin and say, John, hey, can you do this and that? He's like, I could, but not today. I'm sure That's the kind of guy he is. You know, every time I met him, he tries to pull that macho stuff. You know.
Yeah, like for me, like I'll use myself for example. I may be up there in age, but I could still do the full splits. I may be a little bit overweight because of a medical condition, but I could still do my stuff. Like later on, I'll send you some of the videos from the test. Like Drew's seen it, but like if you hold yourself and carry yourself a certain way, you know, no one would ever question you.
Right.
Uh let's see, what was it? So going forward, what is your path? Like, what are you trying to accomplish going past these hurdles that you're trying to smooth things over with?
Well, you know, there's a lot of stuff I have NDAs on that I'm working on, like as far as the advertising and filmmaking stuff. But I'm working towards going to the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. I think it's a different one that you're in, um, but the one in San Antonio, and I'm working towards build. I have 7 acres of land in Tennessee. I'd like to build my dream school out there. To be honest, it's going to happen within the next year, and then I have another book ready to go out. So it's just a matter of getting the corrections done, making sure people like it, make sure my core people who are editing the stuff can all give it approvals and stuff. So, um, yeah, and I'd like to. I'm honestly, I'd like to get it high enough rank in karate where I could have be like a triple threat, do the kung fu, the karate, and all that. Because honestly, it's been good to get back into the martial arts again. It makes me feel good. I'm sure you guys all feel the same way when you guys are practicing and getting in the gym and getting some like workout and so.
Getting into that zone. So
Right.
health wise, how are you doing with the CHF?
The heart failure and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's just it's
is it improving from where it was a couple years ago?
uh we're gonna find out in July. I got an echocardiogram coming up, but I've shed 150 pounds. I used to be 400 pounds pushing, 415, and now I'm down to 220, which is a huge improvement.
Okay.
I'd like to lose another 100 by December, to be honest. And I don't know how much I can do that, but I think as a goal, it's a good goal. I've changed my diet. I've changed my exercise plans. Uh, I'm back in the gym 5 days a week. So
Without it rebounding, I would say most likely maybe by next March or April would be more realistic. So
oh yeah,
that way,
probably.
if you drastically drop it and then you start going back to your old habits, you're gonna get twice as much back. So if you do it a little bit slower, I think it would be more ideal. But sounds from what you're doing, you're on the right track.
Yeah, man, and this drama is just stressing me out. Like being just every day having to see Regan's name in the thumbnail. It's like, man, like what do we got to address today? Like I thought we were moving past this. I thought we had just discussed this last night. Like it would literally go from a meeting with everybody saying, "Okay, good, we're not talking about the drama," and then find out 10 minutes later he's on a stream.
Yeah, because I know that, and I do thank you, Remington, because I know you have my back. You especially had my back during the whole Aaron situation that Regan publicly attacked me. I mean, what did you think about that? And like, what was going through your head throughout the whole thing?
Listen, that stuff really put like a split between me and Regan's relationship. Me even saying anything, he was like, "Oh man, you stabbed me in the back doing that." I said, "Dude, like you got to take into this account. And not just Power Ranger fans are looking at Aaron's stuff right now because of this Legend of the White Dragon. Industry people are looking at it. Man, I had a guy from Paramount on my panel at Rhode Island Anime Con, and he knew about this stuff. He's a Paramount producer. You mean to tell me other producers at other studios don't know about this?
No,
This,
100%.
and this is what I was trying to explain to him. It's so much bigger than this Henry drama right now. I said, you're putting yourself in the spotlight by going on Aaron's stuff. It's gonna ruin what you got going on here. And
So
all he could focus on was, well, you stabbed me in the back by even commenting. I had it. I just wanted to say my statement, and I had to make a point. And there's no talking to him.
so in that regard, I mean, he keeps saying that he's honoring Jason's legacy, especially on that post.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, do you think he's doing so?
Not currently. I think there's potential for him to do it, but he doesn't see the big picture.
Okay, and one more thing, I guess, is what did you brought up money and the PPP stuff, and that you wish you had known about that when your school was going down, which I'm glad you didn't, because then you'd be in the same situation that Austin St. John is in, because I'm a banker. I was a banker at that time, and I can tell you right now, you would have been in a bigger hole than Austin. So did he ever tell you about his PPP loan, or was it just the PPP grant that he got?
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
I didn't even know he had one, to be honest.
And I guess, what did you think of Legend of the Broken Dragon Dagger?
Man, that stung a little bit, to be honest. I was, a lot of that shit hit me, I'll tell you this: my family laughed at it. They laughed at every single one of the jokes. They thought it was funny, and they're like, "You just gotta laugh at it at this point because, these people don't know you in real life. So it's just parody. Like almost you should be taking honor that you were parodied like this, like if Family Guy had gotten to you,
You know what? That's a healthy response. I think that. I like that.
No, Remington, can I ask you? Because Rican said my voice was terrible at playing him. Was my voice that terrible?
I don't think so. I didn't even know it was you at first, to be honest. And then I was like, I gotta see who's playing Rican, because
I did kid Rican and adult Rican. I did both. Yeah.
Oh.
So what you thought about the White Owl?
Answer at the best one.
It was clever. It was clever. I think a lot of it was clever, but it stung that I was a part of it. So it's like, it's really hard for me to say it's clever because, like, I'm being parodied in it as well. But
you know what? I think it's because you're a writer. So I think you're just like, hey, it was good, but it's things that you were part of it.
Right.
So if there was a part 3, I'm gonna assume you won't be in it, because I think the way that you've came out today, I don't think anyone's gonna meme you as long as you leave the Henry Court alone and not meme or go after people. I think they're willing to split that road, and you go one direction, they go another direction without memeing you. So I don't think you'd be in the third one if there was ever a third one.
I hope not.
No.
So would you say that you're totally done and disavow the grid and the key players in that grid?
Yeah, I think I'm done with it. I still have Ian on Facebook, but if he reaches out and says, "Hey, you want to work on anything that doesn't have to do with his music," I don't want to be a part of it. If he wanted to share his music with me, I'm cool with that. But I'm not doing anything associated with KOD or Ninjetti or anything. And
so you said you think. I think the positive answer, the more answer that we're probably looking for, or other people are looking for, is I know. So do you know you're done, or?
Yeah, I know I'm done. It's a complete done.
Complete sever.
I'm just so exhausted. I just got a new relationship. This is something that could affect my new relationship. I'm not willing to give up my girlfriend for some internet drama. You know what I mean? Okay. Just like I'm sure if Angel or Drew's wife came to him and said, "Hey, it's this drama or me," they're gonna pick their wife. They're not gonna go pick the drama. So,
no, I agree 100. Yeah, well said. I have. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so you guys are completely done. I mean, so I do have a question. I mean, there's a lot of serious allegations for Henry. Can you speak on, the the alleged pedo allegations against him, because we all know that it was against the father-in-law, but not, not against Henry. Do you want to set the record straight on that, or can you share anything about that?
Yeah, I don't think Henry did anything. Whatever went on, he's explained it. I just think a lot of us are hurt by the situation, and you know, and if I've reached out to Henry too, and asked him to like meet me halfway, and it's clear it's nothing personal. It's just about the content.
No, I
And
get it, but the thing is that, I mean, I get it that you want to move on and stuff like that, but it's just, those are serious against him, just like we heard you out.
Yeah.
Henry has told his story multiple times and even shown the court docs. So I feel like, that is something that should have been put down at the least, especially when
I agree. I think it was taken
yeah.
too far, and he's explained himself just like I've explained myself. I don't think he's done anything with his daughter. Just like because the court said it. The court says that he's got nothing to do with it, and the father was acquitted or whatever happened with the father. It's done, over with. He's got custody.
There's two things I want to ask you about.
Okay.
The first one is, now allegedly there are people saying that there's a volleyball girl thing going on one of your pages, like you follow volleyball girl playing or a high school volleyball girl playing, that it come up a couple times. I wanted to know if you wanted to address that and set the record straight on that.
I'm one of those people. I click down my suggested list and just follow people, and are usually connected to people in my area. Ludlow's one of the towns next to me, so there's a lot of local people on there, and I blindly. I mean, you look at my profile; it's got like 5,000 people. I don't know half the people I follow. I don't know half the people on my social media. I just kind of follow random people, and I'm dressing now. It's on me.
I get you, my friend. My suggestion to you is, after this video, tighten it up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You have admitted, and I mean, you're younger than I am. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that lesson a long time ago, that yes, you can have the internet persona and the professional persona, but at some point, having grown up, they both become one at one point. Like
Right.
It's kind of a growing up period. So my recommendation to you, because I mean, if I pull out my old stuff, I've still got my old Supreme stuff, all of my old skateboarding stuff when I used to skateboard hardcore. That never left me. But am I going about like a teenager, smoking weed all day and skating? Nah, that part of my life is over. Now I'm all about making my paycheck, taking care of my wife, taking care of this house and making sure that the bills are paid. Different part of my life, just like you're talking about. So my advice to you, clean it up.
It's good advice. I figured this would be addressed on here, but I just wanted to set the record straight. These are not people I'm reaching out to. These are not people, I'm going and having lunch with. This is just random people that are on my follow list and probably followed me first or suggested from somebody I follow. Not people I'm chatting with. I can show my inbox. I don't chat with very many people. It's you guys and fucking my girlfriend and whoever's hitting me up for coming on my podcast. It's really dry if you looked at my messages. So
I gotcha.
Gotcha. My other question was, I want to talk about this. Rican's martial arts. I think this is a big thing, because he has fought with me and answer tooth and nail about, he's this, and JKD, he learned from his dad for 2 years when he was a kid, and and he's got this whole grand thing that he really does think he belongs in that community. And I've explained to him that you really gotta live it, walk it, and put your years in. You can't just go around doing that. It's like, when's the last time you really seriously worked with someone with it? You know, I mean, he even kind of denounced me, and I worked with a guy that worked with Dan Inosanto, who was Bruce's greatest student, and
Right.
he was still kind of like, oh, I got this thing, you know, I could still throw hands. What are your thoughts on that, and what do you think about his attitude and where he stands with that?
Well, I'm conflicted a little bit on it because I'll say it this: it's like the equivalent of some kid who was 10 years old and got a black belt, and then now is 30 and be like, "Well, see, look, I had martial arts training when I was a kid." I mean, I don't think you're a real black belt unless you're like older and could really like do some of the stuff. You know what I mean? What you learn as a kid is a little different than what you're doing as an adult. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes perfect sense.
You know, great that he did it as a kid, but if you're not living the life and you're not doing it, you know, it's really hard to claim that.
no, absolutely, and that was a big thing, you know, that we were always talking about, and he always wanted to bring up and talking about he's going to have a best of the best, which I'm wearing today, martial art competition, and you know, we're going to do it in the back alley, and he's going to see what's going on when we see his skill and if he could throw hands and all this.
Well, Drew, I told you how that best of the best came about. It's because I have the land in Tennessee, and I wanted to start a martial arts circuit. And he was like, "Well, we'll just have Answer fight us there. We'll just have Henry fight us there. We'll be the main event." You know, it's like turned into from something I was doing to, you know, something totally different.
Yeah, I was like, what do you want to do? You know, and I was just like, this is absolutely crazy. Like, are you serious about this? And it was always weird because it was like he would say all this stuff, and then when Answer and I would respond and be like, okay, well, we'll meet you on this, and he'd be like, oh, no, wait, no, I'm not trying to do all that. I just want to do stunts. And he kept going back and forth in circles. So I'm gonna be done with this, man. You know, either you're about it or you're not. And so far from what I see and what we've all seen, he's not.
Right.
And all you got to do, like I told you, is do the David Goggins, man. Just own it. Just be straight up about it, and just realize, like, I am not in that class or that walk.
See, I think his anger will not let him be straight up. You know, he's got all this anger and stuff comes out that probably he doesn't even mean, and will probably regret later on after the brain starts coming back. You know, I think he's just the anger clouds him, and he just spouts off.
Okay. All right. Well, that explains that. And I had one more thing, you know, and I think we've answered. Everybody answered. Got, you know, everything answered or questions asked, right? I think so. Answer.
Yeah.
Did you ask everything you wanted to?
So we're not doing this tournament of power thing, right? All the
At least,
beef is squashed.
I'm not doing it. If you want to come bring your people down when I have my circuit, you're welcome to do it. But it's going to be a friendly, you know,
Okay.
respect.
If I come to mass, I'm not going to get shot, am I?
No, man, I ain't shooting you, man. Well, I'll probably give you a handshake and we'll exchange, you know, martial arts stuff. You know, I don't want any beef here. You know, I'm trying to run my life here. I don't want, you know, I don't want to have to go look around the Comic-Con behind my back. Somebody's gonna go whack me, you know, or I have to go get into a fight when I'm trying to do business stuff here. You know.
So are you saying that it's gonna be? This is like a ceasefire, troops. Red flag has been lowered, white flag is up, and
Absolutely, 100%.
Neutral.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be like Israel and Palestine, or Israel and Iran, or is it a legit troops? Like, hey, it's
this
done.
is legit truce. You will not see me meme you. You will not see me badmouth you. You know, if you want to share martial arts stuff with me, go ahead. I got plenty of martial arts stuff I can share with you, and you know, we might be able to learn from each other because I know Kung Fu has different stuff than Taekwondo. Taekwondo has different kicks than Kung Fu does. You know, every once in a while, I like to throw a Taekwondo kick into my martial arts training. I was working on it was almost like a tornado kick, but instead of landing with a second kick, you do a low high roundhouse. I've been working on that lately. And that's a Taekwondo kick and so. You know, I like learning new stuff from other martial artists that may have stuff that's better than mine. I'm not afraid to say other martial arts have stuff better, and kung fu stuff has better stuff than other martial arts as well on the offhand. So
So are you saying this is like a form of apology, and then this is a like gentlemen, we shake hands, no beef, no drama?
absolutely, hey, I apologize for even coming at you. I think I honestly think it got out of hand on both sides.
It
It's
did.
it, so
So
yeah,
for my part,
I'm willing to admit as a man that I was wrong in part of it.
for my part in the whole interactions and how things escalate, my apologies. Most of these conversations should have been done behind closed doors or in DMs, and unfortunately, it was done in a public space. So,
Right, absolutely.
going forward,
But see,
hey,
that's what I was trying to tell Regan about the Aaron stuff. Like, do that in the DMs. Do not do that public where industry people are watching.
yeah. So, I mean, going forward, if there's any issues, hey, I'm not doing it in a public space because I don't really want the drama. So,
Right.
me and you, if we communicate, will be in the DMs or in text or whichever way, and uh, go from there. And then as
Hey,
far
and when
as
I get my circuit open, you're welcome to come and be a judge. 100%. You have the
okay,
invitation welcome open.
sounds good. I'll hold you up to that one. Uh, one recommendation, if I can make here, uh, Juicebox has brought it up in reference to your Instagram page. Those ones that you blindly follow, I would respectfully just undo it.
Yeah,
And and
I've been unfollowing people on the daily as we speak.
and then make your page public. If you want people to perceive that you have changed from who you were 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be one of the first steps. Like this conversation was one. And then the next step would probably be adjusting your social media where you're not making those mistakes. And then people will see that you're genuine, that you're trying to change yourself. And then in the event your current missus sees this stream, sees your Instagram, she'll know you're also on the right path too. So
Right.
we'll talk more outside of the stream, but this is just a little bit I wanted to share on air with you, and then hopefully you would hold up to that at
I
least.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's giving me the floor and give me a chance to kind of talk a little bit more about the situation and answer maybe unanswered questions that were maybe like left up in the air and everyone was curious about.
No, I also want to apologize because I also came at you hard. I mean, regrettably, we did not talk beforehand, and I think after the allegations came out, because I do love children as well. Like, um, I've talked about it before. I'm a child of abuse, and so it hits me hard whenever I hear that children are involved or like if a child is hurt. So you can imagine what I felt in blind rage.
No,
And
I
by the time
100%
and
get it.
like you had sent me a message saying, "Hey, please stop." And in my anger I said why, but you had already blocked me. So we didn't even have a chance to speak on it. But I'm glad that the air is being, you know, um is being cleared now.
I
Yeah.
agree. You know, just I'm lost for words here. Just I'm happy you guys were able to let me come on and give me another shot here.
No, absolutely. And that's not it, because I've got some things I want to say. I may have not come at you as hard as some of the other things, but I did my part. I know I laughed at you about being the mayor, and um oh, you thought that was good, huh? But I apologize
Dale.
for that. I shouldn't have done that. I know everybody's cracking up now, but I shouldn't have done that. And I know when we went on Renee's initially, and he talked about the Christmas card, and I was just like, man, it's a crazy situation. I don't know if I can do this. I apologize for that. And anything else I might have missed in between, I sincerely, humbly, truthfully apologize to you and extend my hand out to you, and make that right, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and to speak on Renee, I don't want to speak on her too much because I know she's trying to move away from
Uh-huh.
this, but good on her for being. I don't know if she was Christian before. I think she said she was, but good on her for trying to move away from the drama stuff and get into the whole godly stuff. I've wanted to do like I was so jealous when you and Sean were doing the Bible study. I was like, I
Oh,
so badly wanted to just jump in and do that with you guys. So it's good on her to like move away from this stuff. I apologize to her as well. I kind of dragged her a little bit into this drama. I have a part in that too. I know she was focusing on the Rican stuff, but I had asked Rican to have her bring me on, and that kind of got out of hand, and that was part of the big thing that made her go away. And so I apologize to her. I tried reaching out to her, but she didn't respond. So um, just good on her. Good her moving away from it. Apologize as
no,
well.
absolutely. And going forward, for my segment of going forward, what's your message? What do you want to say to everybody? Henry, Dust, Cayenne, Ray, everybody on the team. And what are you doing that's going to be the new you? I guess is the two-part question.
Well, I'd like to say I'm sorry that this has gone on so long and that this has affected other people's, view of me and affected, the way the kind of the Discord has been, because I know a lot of it's been me and Rican and a lot of focus on this drama when, it could be focused on everybody getting together and being a community and, positive stuff. So I'm sorry for kind of dragging everybody into this mess. And I hope moving forward, everybody can just kind of go back to doing positive stuff and being friends. And they may not want me in the group anymore, but y'all can still be friends and all that. Moving forward, I don't talk about this drama on my own personal podcast, so I'm just going to keep having guests on for the next couple weeks. Then I'm going to take a much needed break and focus on the martial arts and losing weight and my girlfriend. It's long distance right now, but I've been going out every couple months to go see her and you know spending a couple days at a time, go make sure uh, she's good and got the stuff she needs. And yeah, just let's keep the internet drama on the internet and not reach out to her and about any of this kind of stuff, because I know some people like to do that. And so
I'm willing to bet that maybe 99 or 98% of Henry's court will probably not meme you or go after you that way, considering that you disavowed the grid and those associated with it. And the fact that you just publicly made an apology to all these people that's been affected by it. Like for me,
hey,
I really don't want no drama with any of them over there. I'm just trying to do my thing, and some of the drama does come towards me because I come up on the internet. But uh, going forward, man, I don't want no drama with anyone. I'm just trying to do my thing, and you're trying to do your thing. Juice Box
Right.
trying to do his thing. Juice trying to do his thing, and if we cross paths, we cross paths, and hopefully we're just respectful of each other.
Hey, I feel really bad for what's going on with Cheyenne and her kid, and being part of that too, because the kids shouldn't be involved. They got nothing to do with this stuff. So I have empathy for that kind of stuff. I just think everybody was kind of hurt, and it just got pushed too far. Not excusing it, but just trying to give an explanation.
So, do you think that with you apologizing and coming forth, do you think that they will continue doing their thing, or do you think that like they truly want done?
I think it'll just go radio silent because Dust never really fucked with me anyways. Henry kind of fucked with me, but I honestly think Henry don't really fuck with anybody unless it's gonna do with his show. To be
Oh no,
honest,
I meant like the grid. Do you think that they'll continue doing their thing without you?
I think Regan will continue doing his thing. I know he's hoping Francis will be on his side and all that. But I don't really know. I don't talk to Frances like that, so I don't know where she's at. That's kind of a Francis question because he's trying to get on her and Ray's side right now, and which I told him, I said it's probably best that I leave anyways because they're not going to want to work with you if I'm associated with you in the first place.
No,
Okay.
that's the thing. And I know he said for his Rican's dream team, he wanted April, Ray, Francis, and myself to do the nights. And my thing was, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. But number two was, what about you and Ion and all these other people that were on his team? Because he didn't mention them being on with us. So I was kind of like, well, that kind of puts you guys in a bad spot.
I'm like 100% convinced I was bottom of the barrel last choice. To be honest, I think if he had people who had better industry connections, I would have been out a long time ago.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people underestimate what I've done in the industry and who I know and my connections are. So
You hold a SAG card, right?
I do. I got it right here. Everything's falling out. Yeah, I got my SAG card right here.
Oh, shoot. Okay. There you go.
So
For acting or for stunt performance?
acting.
Okay.
I did a movie with David Spade where I was the karate guy, and then I've done a bunch of like smaller stuff after that. I did a movie with it was a TV series with the director from Amazing Spider-Man, Mark Webb. I've worked with him. I'm currently working on a project right now with director I can't mention at the moment, but he's known for horror and twists and stuff. So, I'm active in the industry and stuff. The stuff I've seen in the industry, I don't want to be involved with it too much because, you've heard the media, what's going on. That stuff's legit and it's something you got to look out for. So,
All right. So, two last questions for me. Do you have anything to say to your former teammates on the grid? Any last parting words for them?
that I hope you get your project done and can move away from this drama. It's not going to be with me involved, but I hope you guys can make something happen. Because I can watch from the sidelines and hope the project gets done. I don't have to support it with money and all that. And unless it comes out, I'll probably buy issue one and see how different it is than anything I've suggested. But yeah, just focus on the project. Stop. Who cares what Henry's got to say? What Ray's got to say? If I've told them in person, if you guys got the project done, you have a finished product to show. Right now, it's just concepts and all that, and nobody's going to want to buy into a project that's just got concepts. You need an idea. Like the guy from Marvel, for instance. I was telling him about Ninjetti. And he said, "Oh, well, great. Do you have a pitch?" And I said, "I'm not doing it. He's doing it." He said, "He's got to come up with the pitch." He's like, "Okay, well, you contact me again when he's got a pitch. When he's got an idea of what we're working with here." And I told Regan that. He's like, "Well, I need to have him sign on first." And I'm like, "He's not going to sign on without any of this. No one's going to really get involved unless you have like a solid concept."
Okay, and then the second question: would you be willing? And this is no shot at the grid or the people over there, but would you be willing to give me pointers on how I could write and finish a book that I had in mind for years now, but I actually want to put it pen to paper just to get it from pen to paper to publish? Since you published a comic book, do you think you'd be able to coach me in the right direction?
Yeah. Do you want the advice here, or you want it like?
No, outside of here, but would you be willing?
Yeah, I could give you advice. I've done all kinds of stuff where it comes to pilots and movie scripts and stuff. I think I wouldn't consider myself an expert, but I'd say I'm like semi-expert on doing that kind of stuff. I went to school for filmmaking. You know, I have an idea of like what a project needs. You know, like most things, it's just like a 3 act structure: introduce the characters, introduce a problem, solve the problem. I think every basic movie, television show, you know, plot has to do with that. So, you know, I think
Okay.
that's where our expertise has the main focus, and then adding, um, well, this happens, so therefore this happens because this happens, kind of thing. You know,
Makes
whereas
sense.
you don't want to have a bunch of things just happening. You know you want it to connect and make sense, almost like a timeline.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I'll reach out to you
Uh,
at a separate time from this. Thank you for the opportunity for letting me come on and interact with you where there's no tension and we just try to resolve any drama or any hurt emotions or feelings. And then hopefully everything works out for you for the best. I'll
Thank you.
leave the rest to Danger and Juicebox.
Appreciate it.
Well, Angel, did you want to go first?
I mean, I think I've said my piece. I think that I've said everything that I want to. You know, I think that your apologies were heartfelt. You know, I can't speak on everyone in, in saying that it's 100% like accepted.
Mhm.
That's the problem with these kinds of things is that, you know, unfortunately, even though I understand the situation, I know that, what happened and whatnot, but, there's always going to be those people that are not in your favor. But the best thing that I can say to you, Remington, is just keep moving forward and keep showing them up with success. It is what I had told Rican. And Drew can back me up on this. I told Rican, hey, there's going to be a lot of people hating on your project, that hate on your vision, that hate with your passion, but you just got to work on your craft. You got to kill them with success. And that's honestly the same advice I have for you is you're young, you're super young, and
Mhm.
I'm older than you, and I've been through a lot of what you've been through, and it's crazy that I'm even saying that statement, but and I think you're going to be in that situation one day, and you'll think back and you'll be like, hey, someday you'll have somebody your age or even younger being like, hey, are you able to give me some advice? And you'll be able to give them the same kind of advice that I'm giving you, and it's all about pushing it forward, you know.
Well, I'll take away this. There's a lesson I'm learning from all this is to not think with my emotions, because I think if I didn't become so emotional over this, Drew may have given me a second chance a lot sooner. I might have had a better chance at explaining myself and really talk with other people on how to present this, because I really thought irrationally, just running to another person to chat with this. I really should have thought it out, waited, and it's almost the same situation of going with the case. I really should have thought out, like, oh, maybe I should have waited. Maybe wait till she was 18. Maybe wait till a better time for this. Wait till maybe parents weren't involved in the relationship. So.
No, 100%. And I think Judge Joe Brown did tell you that in his own way, his own
Mhm.
older way, that he was like, you don't need to tell everyone in the world,
Right.
but if the situation ever comes up, at least you have this video, at least you have your testimony, and at least you can be like, hey, this is the situation. Let me explain, and then go into what happened.
Hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead, Drew.
Well, I think we have kept you on here and answered everything, and you have been fantastic. And all that you've done. I mean, just coming up here to do that takes a big person and a big man. I can see that the words of wisdom I gave you when we had talked previously, you really sat on that, and you've come out here today. And I think that the world is going to look at you differently in a good way. And going forward, there's going to be a lot of things that you can accomplish and you can do. And taking it from me being an old man now, I can tell you that you've got some serious things that you're going to do that are going to be great. And if you stay on that path, which I think you understand now, staying on that path is the way to go. You're going to go more and more up with your successes and the things that you wish to achieve. And, you know, we're cheering for you, and we want to see you do well. We don't want to see anybody do bad. We want people to strive and to do well and to help them along the way if we can do that, you know. And that's the thing about it. And so we're cheering for you, man. And we want to thank you for, yeah, absolutely. We want to thank you for coming on and being gracious and patient with us and telling, you know, your story and your thoughts, man, and being 100% honest.
I appreciate it. You guys didn't have to take the time out to, you know, give me this platform. You didn't have to take the time out of your day to come talk to me. And I really appreciate that you guys would do that for me. You know,
No problem.
It feels good, you know, to have people on kind of your corner a little bit, you know.
Hey, I want to say thank you for guys accommodating my work schedule, allowing me to get home first to start this, because I know it's late for me. It's almost 1 o'clock my time. I know it's almost 1 o'clock where you're at, nerd.
Yeah.
But just the fact that we was able to work this out to do the stream. So I want to say thank you for everyone for accommodating.
I'd like to congratulate Answer for having his 5th degree black belt. You know, that's for anybody that's done martial arts, you know, it's not an easy feat to reach 5th degree black belt. I think they said like only like 5,000 people or 5,000 people who do martial arts end up getting a 5th degree black belt or some kind of percentage like that. That it's not a lot of people who reach that high of a goal, and it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of dedication. You know, you've proven yourself to be dedicated to the art, and you know that's no easy feat. So I just wanted to congratulate. And I even told Angel, like, no matter what he thinks of me, no matter what beef's in between that's still, yeah, I can give him props for that, because like that's not an easy task. That's not something everybody gets to, and I, you know, just wanted to congratulate him on that.
No, thank you.
Greatly appreciate it.
Answer's got the glow. That's the secret. He's got the glow.
I mean, he's only got what 5 degrees left to catch up to JDF.
JDF was promoted to 9th, so I got what?
Another
4 more to go.
I thought he was 10th. I think it was posthumous though, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, posthumous. He was promoted to 9th. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We're getting
but
there.
I'm not even on that caliber yet, so I still got a long ways to go.
You're gonna get there
eventually, one day at a time. And you're gonna join me, Drew. You'll be right there beside me.
I'm gonna take you up on that.
Nerd, you'll be right there beside me too. You could get there too. So
I know I'm starting all over from into karate now, so it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, in due time, and hopefully it keeps the ticker healthy for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, oh absolutely.
Yeah, I'll put some oil on my walker and be ready for you.
It's all good, but seriously though, Remington, take care of yourself, health wise, spiritually, mentally, and then, you know, don't let distractions deviate you from your path that you're trying to go on. So just stay on your path.
If you ever need anybody to mentor, my inbox is open.
All right, cool. It's reciprocal, same way. So if you need any help with something, reach out. Right. Are we ending it right now?
Yeah. I'm gonna drop the last on it, guys. This is the Drew Danger X I don't want to say podcast, YouTube show. But we all represent the Code of Danger. We represent Nerd Talk Podcast. We represent Answer's new channel coming out, which we're excited to see. Juicebox, Poppy, Code of Danger, Henry Resilient, Dust Productions, Ray. It's Francis, baby. We represent everybody on the team. We want to make sure we shout out, but there's too many of you guys, and I'm too old. I can't remember everybody's name, unfortunately, at the time. So please forgive me, but I'm thinking about each one of you guys. You know, we want to thank you, everybody, for coming in and checking out the show. Hope you like it. Leave a comment. If you like it, like it. I'm not even going to pull on that one. I'm just going to say, hey, if you want to leave a comment just to see what you think, that's cool enough for me. And I want to thank everybody for coming on board, you know, Angel, Answer, you know, Nerd Talk, our guest, of course, for making this possible and happen and everything like that. Thank you, everyone. I was sorry I was a little scrambling around. My wife had used the computer and unplugged some things, and I had a friend pass away.
Oh man.
And so I was kind of dealing with that, and you know, my mind was a little bit right there, but I promised I would do this, and I just needed a quick second to get myself together. So I apologize for that. And I was so zoned out, guys. I thought I had my headphones on the microphone, and then I realized I didn't even have them on. That's how much my head was in that. So I apologize for that. I promise next time it'll be better. So anyway, I'm through rambling. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing that. Thank you guys so much. Check us out next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. And what crazy adventures will Drew Danger get in again with my life? I'm sure there'll be something. Thanks a lot, guys. Drew Danger out. And everybody be safe. And one word of kindness, I will say this. It's easy to laugh and show hate and fear, but it takes true strength to be gentle and kind. Remember that, everybody. Be good. Bye, guys.